In this blog, I want to share with you 3 different concepts that you can use to build on for yourself and grow your own knowledge and learning around these, to see if focusing on these behaviors rather than the weight loss might bring you more joy and contentment in your everyday life. So being successful with lifestyle changes does require you, in my opinion, to focus on your feelings more so than your weight loss. You've heard me say this once too many times, I expect, at this stage. But that means we need to learn how to use positive thinking, positive language, and learn new strategies for how we adapt and how we focus on our changes. But how we support ourselves is doing that, because it gets pretty boring in the middle. You know, there's lots of times where you're in the middle of a lifestyle change and then something happens, or you just get bored of it and you just like want to throw all the toys out of the pram and I just want to get back to the other way because the other way is way nicer, or it feels way better in the short term. We're not always able to think about, okay, you know, when you're in the moment and you're there going like, you know, this extra bar of chocolate, I know it's going to make me feel terrible tomorrow, or maybe feel terrible even in 20 minutes time, but your brain is there telling you right now, this is what I want to do. So what do I suggest if you're going to adopt this change, or if you're going to start thinking differently and allowing yourself to connect in with, well, actually, I really don't want that feeling of discomfort later. I'm going to resource myself up right now so that I can think about things in a different way. Let's think about this. If you wake up in the morning and the first thought in your head is, you know, how you didn't eat properly the day before, or you didn't get for your run the day before, or how much you have to do, well, we're already setting our systems up, our nervous systems up. We're starting that threat button. We're already on alarm. And our brain then, I read a great book recommended by a friend last year, Steve Haynes, really short book about anxiety, and he was talking about how our brain wakes up in the morning for 2 things: safety and fuel. So remember, our brain takes up 25% of the fuel that we eat in any given day. So if you've set that threat button by the very first thought that you've woken up with in the morning, you're not feeling very safe, and therefore your food choice might change, your response to other people might not be as nice as you'd like it to be. You're just already in that fight or flight, you're in that irritable, you're in that stressed, you're in that responding or reacting rather than responding. And remember, if those thoughts are about food as well, that I didn't do good enough yesterday, I'm not good enough because I didn't eat. So therefore the 2 things that the brain wants, the food and the safety, we're just feeling very unhappy about that in our head, because we've just had those thoughts and we've reminded ourselves, I'm bad because I ate wrong yesterday. I've set that threat button. So how are you going to learn how to stop that? And the one thing that I think we have to engage with is some way to remind ourselves when we get out the bed in the morning that we need to reframe how we're thinking. So here's my suggestion. When you get out of your bed, you put your 2 feet on the ground, and even for 3 seconds, it doesn't have to be 5 minutes, it doesn't have to be 20 minutes, just for 3 seconds, you throw your hand in your heart and you remind yourself that you've got your back all day long. Because let's face it, all of us are busy, all of us are struggling to come out of that busyness and go slower. I know when I was completely overwhelmed, I found it really hard to even engage and to understand what this concept meant. So there's lots of things I could tell you about how to look after yourself. I could say, don't skip your meals throughout the day. Make sure you get your protein, your fat and your carb in. I could do all of these things. But what I really want to say to you is the one thing that you could do for yourself in the morning so that you kickstart that day in a way that is much more positive and much more kind to yourself, is throw your hand in your heart and remind yourself, I've got my back today. And give yourself some praise for the small wins, because to be honest, at the end of the day, we're always most proud of our own achievements. I know recently when I won that award for Network Loud, I really went into it thinking, why would I bother doing this? But when I walked away after I had it, and when I've received lots of feedback from so many people, I am very proud of the work that I have done to achieve this. So you need to give yourself that praise. So by starting off with reminding yourself you've got your back, being kind, being gentle with yourself, and asking yourself, how do I really want to think in any given day? Do I want to set my threat button today, or do I want to set my safety button? And if you want to set your safety button, just remind yourself every morning how much you're changing and what you're doing. So our next point that we're going to talk about is, let's think about creativity here in this new approach. I was driving the other day, and a road that I normally drive, and it's known for people driving really, really, really fast. And lots of people have been really worried because something's going to happen at some point, that somebody would get injured or worse, God forbid. And yeah, when I went on the road the other day, speed bumps have been put in place. And I thought, oh my God, that's it. That's it. That's what we need to do for ourselves. So, you know, when the advertisements come out, get your body beach ready, lose 10 pounds in this, it's new year, new you. We need to get some speed bumps in the way. And you need to discover for yourself what your speed bumps are. So what could you use, or what question could you ask yourself when you see those? Could you say to yourself, or could you ask yourself, well, I've tried this for the last X many years of my life and it hasn't worked for me. So no, thank you. I'm not going to buy into your media marketing this time. I'm actually going to float my own boat and see what I do. So these new health promoting behaviors, what we talk about, these are ideas that are going to bring you into feeling. But part of this in connection and engagement with these new ideas is helping to stop and to let go of some of the behaviors that we've engaged in for many reasons, whether we've been told in education, whether we've grown up with it in our family, whether we see our peers doing it. For lots of reasons, they're keeping us stuck in the same old piece of, or the same old action time and time again. And we're here to put some speed bumps in the way so that you can actually take a new road and you can decide for yourself what road that is. So maybe, like, you know, pulling back into that piece around the behaviors that have kept you stuck. What's your inner critic saying to you all the time? Does it remind you, you know, when you failed, that you're lazy, or here you are, you're not successful? But if we were to challenge that, and if we were to say, actually, what it does remind me of is that I am very dedicated, and I am persistent, and I work really hard. So it loves to tell us what we haven't done right, and it really does not want to tell us what we do. And we have to really work hard. We've got to put our own speed bumps in the road so that we stop, take stock, look at our performance, look at that original thought, and use it to transform our conclusion. Use it to think differently about ourselves, so that it will inspire us, it will motivate us, and it will allow us to get further to that dream or that goal that we are thinking of. Like, so what is it that you're dreaming of? What do you really, really want? Do you really, really want to feel happy in yourself, so that you can get up and you can walk into a room and you can feel worthy and you can feel present and you can feel content? Or do you really just want to lose a few pounds? That's the question. It's a new approach. Get creative with how you think about things. And my final point this month is, I think every woman knows this. When you have a better relationship with people around you, it brings you deep joy and happiness. I know after coming out of COVID, where I didn't see many of my friends for a long time, I was actually struggling even to get back into the everyday, the natter and the chatter about life. And I slowly did it, step by step, take one step at a time. But it does bring me great joy and happiness to have great people in my life, to share things, to laugh, to support each other. So we know that having a better relationship with someone, we know that having a better relationship with people is really, really important for our mental well-being. And it helps reduce our stress levels, it helps improve our digestive ability, so many things. Think about this. Much of our eating takes place in a social context. the how, the why, and who we eat all impacts our decisions. So how we eat, who we eat with, and when we eat, it's all impacted by the people that are around us. But what is it, when we change our minds and we decide that we want to eat in a different way? What is it that happens within us? We kind of feel a little bit, upset, or it can be hard to say, oh, I'm on the diet again. So what we need to do, or what we need to think about, is to eat in a way that we feel confident and to create connections with people who build us up. So a first step for you, if you're choosing to eat in another way, that is not really there for the purpose of losing weight, is that you lean into those people that you really, really have a great connection with. And you allow yourself to be very vulnerable and say to them, I am not on a diet. I am choosing to eat this way because it makes me feel better. My body, my being is not measured by what I eat. I am not my food. This is some of the kinds of language that you could use when you're having that discussion with people around you. So as much as your relationship with your friends are really, really important for your well-being, your relationship with yourself is as important. So when we stop focusing on weight loss, there will still be the conversation happening around us with other people who might be engaging in weight loss or who might be talking about their diets. And we need to support ourselves in that. But the thing is, none of us ever, when it comes to talking to our friends or our family, none of us ever connect with them about food really in the way that you're great because you're denying yourself your food. We all really just connect with people because we love them. We connect with them because we enjoy their company. We connect with them because they make us feel better. We don't connect with them because of their body size. So the first step, I always think, is about being vulnerable enough to show up and to stand up and say, here's what my body is like, and here's how I want to be as I take this new approach, as I've gotten creative with how I want to do things, as I've let go of the weight loss, as I've embraced more of the health promoting behaviors. Here's how I want to show up. And I'd like you as my friend to be here beside me. When we think about embracing health promoting behaviors, it should be just like brushing our hair in the morning or brushing our teeth, because these are things that we need to do to support our body, to prevent disease, to allow us to live this life that we hear about, this optimal health, vitality and energy and all of that. Let's go back to the weight loss. Short-term food restrictions, that it does impact your blood sugars. You will see an initial drop in weight. You might even notice an impact on your cholesterol. But if they worked, we would have seen in the science and the evidence by now that these are manageable and these are efficient ways of supporting that. Think about what I mentioned earlier. Yes, in doing your diet, you have brought more vegetables into your diet. You've probably started moving more, and they're all 100% positive ways of influencing your health. So rather than focusing on when you feel crap in the middle of it, because remember, I've always said this, it gets boring in the middle. When you feel crap, rather than focusing on the weighing scales, how about you focus on all the things that you have done and try and encourage yourself not to feel bad if you slip up for a day. Every meal is a new opportunity. It is the single most or the best responded sentence that I've gotten from all of my clients. Every meal is a new opportunity. So when you're thinking, when you embrace your diet, that you're doing it because you want to lose weight, well, come back to think about it. Well, I'm embracing food and changes in what I eat because it is influencing my blood sugars, it is influencing my cholesterol, but I'm doing it in a way that I can sustain this for a longer period. So it's a much healthier way of thinking about things, because there will be times that we slip up, there will be times that we fall off the wagon, there will be times when we plain rebel against the whole notion of eating in this way, because that's just human nature. So when these happen, I want you to remember and ask yourself, what am I measuring my success on? Every meal is a new opportunity. And what am I really measuring my success by? Is it an external metric or is it an internal feeling? Challenge your brain with really clever questions and focus on things that bring you enjoyment. Focus on food that brings you enjoyment as opposed to I must get the chia seeds in or the extra bit of lettuce. And spend your time with people who really encourage and inspire you to eat in a way that makes you feel better, not punishes you for how your body is or isn't in their eyes. So that is my focus on health and well-being, focus on health promoting behaviours, things that you can do that are not just tick off a meal plan and be more organised and get out for another walk. These are some ideas that are going to help you to reframe how you think, going to help you to adopt new approaches, change things up, create your own speed bumps, encourage yourself with creativity, notice your performance, be around people who lift you up, and above all else, make food fun. Encourage yourself to have that nice relationship with food that allows you to enjoy the feeling that it brings, as opposed to making you feel guilty for what you haven't done.